Hi, welcome back. Tonight we're going to be scrapping a lighting ballast for a fluorescent light fixture. So this is the ballast I'm going to be scrapping tonight. It's a 120 ballast, 2-tube. One quick thing I can tell you is if you pick up the ballast and it feels really heavy, don't bother scrapping it because there's a lot of black tar type stuff in there. And it gets over everything and it's really messy. So I don't advise scrapping them if they're heavy. This one is fairly light compared to its size, so I'm going to open it up and see what's inside. Okay, so how you open it up, a lot of times I'll take my knife and I just stick it in. Stick it in a little gap there. Okay. Okay, not too much tar in there, just let me pop a little more. There we go. So that comes off pretty easy. Sometimes these are actually aluminum, so I'm just going to check it. Nope. So that's just for my steel. Okay, a little more steel. So you can see this is the black tar I was talking about. So sometimes you'll open them up and this is all black. But if you pick it up and it feels fairly light, you'll be able to see that there's just tar on the back. So here's a little bit of copper. A little copper there. Another little copper bit there. Another little copper here. These here are capacitors, so you've got to be careful with those. So sometimes they can hold a charge. This ballast hasn't been plugged in for about 6 months now, so I'm not too worried, but there's nothing inside them anyway besides a little bit of paper and some aluminum. So the main things I'm going to try to get, I'm going to try to get this here, and this here. So I'm going to take those off and I'll turn the camera back on. Okay, so I got some of them out. So I got those out already. I'm just going to show you how I do it. Take my side cutters, put it in under, clip, and it comes free. Pretty simple. Just put it in under, squeeze, and it comes free. So now I've got 4 little copper bearing transformers, and I'm going to get the weight on those. And okay, so those 4 little copper bearing transformers. Okay, I've got a weight of 2.7 ounces. So I'm going to take the steel off and see how much copper I get out of them. Okay, so I got the ferrite off them, and I'm just going to show you how easy it is to strip these. Oh, no. Of course, when the camera's on, it won't work, but super easy. So a little bit there. So you can see how easy the copper comes off once you get the ferrite off. So I recommend taking all the ferrite out as much as you can. As you can see, I didn't get all the ferrite out of this one, so it's going to be a little more difficult just because you have to keep turning it instead of using the screwdriver. But same principle, just pull straight out. It's not much work. But these little copper transformers, they really do add up. You may notice that I didn't do anything with the circuit board in there. The scrapyard I go to, I think most scrapyards in Canada, they don't do anything with the circuit boards, just because Canadians prepay to dispose of it, so there's no money in it. So if there's no money in it, the scrapyards aren't going to do it, and scrappers aren't going to do it. There we go. So I'm just going to keep doing this. Like I said, it's a lot easier if you get this little ferrite out, because then you can just put your screwdriver in and it pulls out super easy. But this one, I don't know what's going on. But it works out well because then I can put the plastic in with the ferrite in my scrap pile, in my tin pile. Almost finished. Keep going. So yeah, you can see it's definitely worth trying to get the metal out of the center of it. But if you can't, you know, you get paid to watch a little bit of TV while I do this, so it's not bad. Oh, there's a little bit of copper in there, but I guess it's all right. Just that there. Alright, so that's the number 2 copper I was able to get out of those 4 transformers, and let's put them on the scale and see how much it weighs. Okay, so if I had just put that ballast in my scrap heap, I would have probably gotten about a half a cent for it, maybe a cent. So now I'm going to put my over there. So I've got 0.7 ounces of 0.7 ounces. So it's probably 8 or 9 cents at the scrapyard, but it's 9 times what I would have gotten if I hadn't scrapped it. I usually get these ballasts by the hundreds, so I don't usually scrap them. But maybe I should start, because instead of turning them in and getting $100, I'll turn them in and get $800. Okay, well, keep scrapping, and we'll see you next time. Hi, one thing I forgot to mention was if you're scrapping a ballast and it was produced in the 70s, I believe pre-1978, they used to put PCBs in the ballast, and that is a known cancer-causing agent. And also, if the ballast is not marked PCB-free, just leave it alone. You don't even want it in the house. If I get an old ballast, it usually sits in the bed of the truck until I go to the scrapyard, and it just goes in my tin pile. Thanks.